So, big idea.
Big idea. Go for it.
Big idea. I want an America that doesn't just work for a thin slice at the top. I want to build an America that works for all of us. Now, so how do you get there from here to there? And it starts by talking about what's broken, what's wrong. Because we have a government, powerful government in Washington that works great, fabulously for giant drug companies. Just not for people trying to get a prescription filled, right? It's a government that works terrifically for for-profit prisons. Just not for the people whose lives are being destroyed by those prisons. It's a government that works great for giant oil companies that want to drill everywhere. Just not for the rest of us who are worried about climate change bearing down upon us. So when you've got a government that works great for a thin slice at the top, works fabulously for those with money, and isn't working well for much of anyone else, that's corruption, pure and simple, and you need to call it out for what it is. You gotta have the courage to call it out, and then you gotta have a plan to beat it back, and that's what I've got. So, here's the good news. I have the biggest anti-corruption plan since Watergate. Here's the bad news. We need the biggest anti-corruption plan since Watergate. So this plan has a lot of different moving parts to it, and I'll tell you why. It's because money, the influence of money, is everywhere in Washington. It touches everything. Whatever issue brought you here today, if there's a decision to be made in Washington, I guarantee it has been influenced by money. So here's the plan. We got to fight back against it. We've got to be willing to call it out and to fight back. And let me give you some ideas for that. First one, end lobbying as we know it. They've had enough power long enough. Oh, and here's a part of my plan. Anyone who serves in Congress, who heads up an agency, who's part of the cabinet, who's a president, can never lobby. That's a lifetime ban once you've done that work, right? Oh, here's another one. End the revolving door between Wall Street and Washington. Enough. Just stop it on this. Oh, and how about one more on this? Supreme Court. How about we make the United States Supreme Court follow basic rules of ethics? Another part to the plan. Some of you may remember, because some of you fought alongside me for this, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Yeah.
But you may remember the structural change it made, scooping up all of those consumer protection laws that were scattered among a bunch of different agencies, but nobody took it seriously. Nobody ever had the real resources and authority to move on consumer protection. We need to do the same thing on ethics in Washington. We need an ethics agency, scoop it all up, and seriously enforce our conflicts of interest. Okay, and just one more. I could do this all day because it's got a lot of parts. But just one more. You really want to root out some corruption? Here's a way to do it. How about if we make everybody who runs for federal office put their tax returns online?
Yes. Yes.
So that's the idea. The idea is to fight back against the corruption. We fight back against the corruption. The change that's possible then, the democracy starts to work. So, what can we do? We get a 2-cent wealth tax. Yes.
Yes.
On the biggest fortunes in this country, the top 1/10 of 1%, $50 million above that, right? Your 50 millionth and first dollar, 2 cents. And then what do we do for the 2 cents? Universal child care for every baby age 0 to 5. Universal pre-K for every 3-year-old and 4-year-old in this country. Raise the wages of every child care worker and preschool teacher in this country to a professional level. And this is how we pay for universal technical school, 2-year college, and 4-year college for every one of our kids. Oh, and one more part. With that same 2 cents, think about it. All these things we can do. We can also cancel student loan debt for 95% of those who have it. That's how we get in the position to make the core structural changes in our economy we need to make, how we get in the position to be able to fight back on climate change and not just get nice sounding stuff, but things that are going to make a real difference to protect us and get us on the path we need to be on. That's how it is that we make this democracy work again.